Hey guys, I'm busy filming vlog number 4. Uh, this is coming to you from Georgia, Statesboro, Georgia, rather than Raleigh, North Carolina. I arrived here on Sunday, and this time we're involved with a hospital called Willingway, which is a specialist hospital that deals with addiction from alcohol, opiates, methamphetamine, um, anything like that. So it's a little bit different to what we were doing in North Carolina. And the biggest difference for me is that I'm not allowed to film anything because it's people in active recovery and therefore people who are vulnerable and can't have their private lives broadcast, which is fair enough. I wouldn't do that anyway. So, because of that, I'd like to go back to a topic that's sort of been touched on in the earlier vlogs, but is homelessness. Just my past experience. I've worked short term last week in Raleigh in a homeless shelter called Healing Transitions and got to know a few people who were homeless there. And I've also done a long term placement, a 12-month placement in South Africa, where it wasn't solely focused on homelessness, but there was still um, aspects there because certain members of the community I was in were homeless, and I worked quite closely with them. So I'll just want to speak a little bit about the misconceptions and really what should be done, I think, to help. It's a global issue. It's more prominent in some places than it is in others, but it is something that happens in the UK, happens in the United States and elsewhere, that technically developed first world countries. So it's not just a developing world issue, and people often make mistakes when dealing with homelessness and people who are homeless. So yeah, so people think homeless people tend to be the ones that are down and out, that have never had anything in their lives, have never been worth anything. That's why they're on the streets. Um, don't have anything, and that's not the case. I think often, a lot of the time, people have come from pretty nice backgrounds and have actually made a mistake that's cost them everything, which is really sad, and should still really, because they've made one mistake, shouldn't have their dignity taken away from them, but that's what they have, unfortunately, by people who the experience I've had is that people who blast homeless people and aren't sort of, and don't tolerate them, they tend not to have sort of basic manners, principles, morals. Well, sun revolves around them, uh, and yeah, in fact, homeless people tend to be quite, tend to have good morals, tend to have good relationships with people who are willing to help. It might take a little while because they've usually got underlying problems like addiction and stuff like that, which is preventing them, and it actually has caused the homelessness in the first place. So, um, what I've seen in my time in Healing Transitions is I'd actually slept a couple of days in the homeless shelter with the guys, and never once did I feel threatened or out of place, or like I was being looked down upon or anything like that just because I was English in an American environment, even though they sometimes couldn't understand what I was saying. But everyone always treated me with a lot of respect. I was forewarned that possibly people who were new to the system might try a couple of tricks because they knew that I'd have my mobile phone and stuff and an expensive camera, but no, I never got any of that. And it goes to show really that once people are given the opportunity, that they're actually quite decent human beings, like more decent than people who take the piss out of them and bully them on the street. I mean, it's comparable really to the refugee crisis that's happening in the West at the minute. I saw on the Teesside Gazette, Borough's local paper, that a Syrian man's been beaten up because he's Syrian and not English, which is ridiculous. But it also shows how bigoted we have, how bigoted some people in the community are. Um, yeah, that man probably has better morals. He probably had a better job in Syria than the guy that attacked him would ever have. He, you know, people think that the reason they're fleeing over here is to come and take our jobs, which is stupid. But they think that they don't have anything and they're looking for a better life and etc. And which they are, because there's a war going on. If that war wasn't going on and wasn't being um, made worse by the fact that the UK and the US are busy dropping bombs, or have been at least, and perpetuating it, the guys often, I mean, like, so people, they come around and say, well, why have they got tablets? Why have they got smartphones and stuff? Well, if you think about it, they weren't homeless and stuff before bombs fell on their homes and destroyed them. And the reason they're coming over here is because there are terrorists active in their hometowns and in their home countries. So wouldn't you want to move? But anyway, that's a discussion for another day, and it's also one that a lot of people are also discussing. So I won't go too much into it. But homeless people tend to have principles, is what I'm trying to say, and tend to have better manners, tend to be very respectful of their peers and of people who are trying to help. And you shouldn't put someone down just because he's made a mistake that could happen to you, because you could I mean, you might just be at a party one day and someone offers you, like, I don't know, a pill or a line or something, and you decide, let's go for it, and something triggers in this head of yours that makes you end up being an addict, because that's how easy it is. And I don't think people understand that. It is that some people could take cocaine and not get addicted. Other people could and get addicted straight off. Some people might enjoy taking it weekly and then it transitions. Some people can touch it once and then not touch it for another 6 months. It's all to do with the brain, and there. I mean, if you walk through the street, you're walking past a lot of people who at least have smoked cannabis once or have taken cocaine at least once, and aren't suffering as a result. But some people do, and it costs them everything because of how they're treated in the society as a result. So yeah, I mean, if you're gonna slam people because that's happened to them, then you're really quite an ignorant piece of shit, to be fair, because you're not actually taking into consideration how it's happened and what you can do to help, because you always can do something to help, even if it's just get them through one more day by giving them some food and some water or something like that, because it really has to be up to that guy to pursue treatment and pursue help. You can't force them there because it won't work. They'll just, if they're not ready to end a treatment, then they'll just leave and be on the street again. So I'm not saying that you gotta try and fix the problem overnight, but just be a bit more tolerable to people, because if it happens to you or it happens to someone you know, and I can guarantee you know someone who's taking drugs at one point, or drink, or you've seen someone you think, well, you're out again, you're drinking again, you're out 5 nights a week sort of thing, but they have a home and they have a family and etc. So that somehow they don't fall into the same category. You really need to open your eyes and just think, well, it could happen to me, or it could happen to someone I know or someone I care about, like at the snap of a finger. So maybe I shouldn't just be so bigoted and ignorant, and yeah, just show some patience to people, because it isn't always just a black and white thing. I've chosen this path and I'm now suffering as a result, because not everyone chooses the path. Some people just take the risk and it doesn't pay off, but um, unfortunately that's life, and we've got to sort of help each other to figure it out after that, because it's already happened and they're now in a position that they can't help themselves until they need to. So, until they think they need to. Obviously, we understand that they should get help as soon as possible, but it's not always as clear to them as it is to us. So, yeah, just sort of open your eyes a little bit more, and see what's going on around you, and actually look outside the box, think outside the box, because it isn't a black and white situation and all the rest of that. So yeah, thank you for watching, and hopefully you might just take a little bit of what I said into account. And yeah, I'll probably try and get another one in. I'm leaving on Thursday, so I won't be back in the UK until Friday. So still got a couple more days here, but yeah, if I don't see you, if I don't make another video by then, I'm sure I'll see you around in the UK at some point. So yeah, thank you for watching, and until the next time.